You know, there's a phrase in sports, the eye in the sky doesn't lie.
Yeah, meaning cameras and game film will always tell the truth of what's playing out on the field. New at 11, WSBT-22's Carl Deffenbaugh is here. And Carl, Notre Dame is taking that even further.
That's right, Rick. The athletic department is using cutting-edge technology to monitor every single movement that their athletes make in games and practices, catapulting the Irish into the future of sports science. From the football field to the soccer pitch to the basketball court, Notre Dame is in the early stages of a technological push aimed at producing the best athletes in the country and keeping those stars healthy and in the lineup.
If we can keep our good players on the field, we're a much better chance of winning.
In 2012, ND began using GPS tracking technology developed by the Australian company Catapult to monitor athletes in practices and games.
We'll get all this information live so we can see our athletes running around on the field here.
Another product of the land down under, Matt Howley is the director of sports science for the Irish and responsible for guiding the department's strength and conditioning efforts into the future.
The old school thing was train, and then they break, where we want to train, but not let them break.
Currently, 6 different athletic programs are using Catapult's system, and as you can see, the GPS devices are so small, they fit in the palm of your hand. Then they slide into a sleeve on an undershirt on the athlete's upper back and are barely noticeable.
For a male athlete, it's just getting used to wearing a sports bra, but for girls, it's obviously natural.
I don't even know it's there anymore. I don't even think about everything being tracked, but it's pretty cool and definitely helps us out.
Madison Cable is hardly exaggerating when she says everything. The devices measure distance, speed, change of direction, intensity, and myriad other factors.
We can see all the different types of jumps.
Specifically tailored to each individual athlete.
Essentially a profile for each athlete. Everybody's a little bit different. It's like a fingerprint.
And from there, the fun begins. Coaches have the data to build better practice plans, knowing what combination of drills equals an easier or harder day.
If you really want a hard practice, choose from this menu when they develop their practice plan.
Before you were doing it pretty well from experience, but now you've got numbers to back it up.
Howley works closely with the men's soccer team, where head coach Bobby Clark says for the first time in his career, he's given up the reins to the team's fitness program.
We were always a very fit team, but I think when Matt came in and bought into this and took control of it, our numbers went up significantly.
And by tracking each individual, you can even train to their specific position. For example, 2 players may have similar total outputs, but a midfielder could hit that mark with a series of quick cuts, while a forward may reach the same total with a number of long sprints.
If it's a lot of change of direction, there's a lot of hip and groin kind of stress, where when you're out doing a lot more high intensity, longer runs, it's more hamstrings and calves and those things that get taxed.
The technology offers even more when it comes to injuries. Both prevention and rehabilitation. With a baseline for each athlete, the numbers will tell you if something is wrong.
She's making 85% of her movements to the left. Okay, so that can kind of be a red flag as far as overuse or a strength deficit, something like that.
You can kind of tell when your body's tired, when you need a break, when you maybe have an easy practice or, not play as much, something like that. So it kind of protects us a little bit.
And when a player comes back from an injury, that baseline gives trainers hard data on just how far they've come.
Instead of saying, well, we want to train at 60% or do 60% today, what actually is 60%?
Star forward Brianna Turner missed 6 games this year with a shoulder injury, but when she returned, her conditioning was up to par.
We've been able to keep her conditioning at a pretty high level, and what I can do is match it up to a game-like effort.
For the most part, GPS monitoring has not drastically changed how the different programs are run. But at this elite level of college athletics, the hope is that Catapult's system will provide the necessary edge to separate Notre Dame from the field and bring home championships in the process.
Almost looking for the 1% rather than the 10%. Like, we've got a lot of teams that are close to winning national championships, and it's now, can we get them over the hurdle?
Now, Notre Dame isn't the only school using Catapult's technology. Plenty of big-name programs, including Clemson, Florida State, and USC, and also about half the teams, almost half the teams in the NFL and the NBA, including your newly minted Super Bowl champs, the Denver Broncos.
Wow, I mean, this truly is fascinating technology when you see it laid out like you just explained it to us. Where does it go from here?
It's pretty wild, right? Well, as it pertains to Notre Dame specifically, first and foremost, they want to expand into other sports. So hockey is one they want to do. You didn't hear from the football team. They spent the past season just collecting the data. It takes a full season to collect. Now going into spring ball and the following season, they'll be able to actually implement stuff. And for soccer, which is really kind of at the forefront of it, they're hoping to use the GPS tracking in real time during games to kind of evaluate spacing, positioning on the field. So not only the health and training side of it, but strategy during games as well.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And you talk about the competition level there, so if one team is doing it, the other teams want to do it as well.
And they're sort of playing catch up as well. Florida State actually referenced this when they won the national title a couple of years ago in football. So Notre Dame is getting on board with it, seeing some great results so far, and certainly expect to see that in the future as well.
Wow.
Very
it's
interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah. Carl, thanks.